Just wanted to make a video today about divine transmissions and the ego. What happens is therein lies an inherent dilemma in all of humanity, or should I say most of humanity, those of which are unawakened, trapped in a sleepless slumber, blinded to the unlimited cosmic transformative potential of their esoteric supernatural alchemic powers. Your precognitive intuition, your telepathic abilities, telekinesis. We're all psychics, mediums, clairvoyants. I shouldn't say all, but most are. And the people that are, they're just unaware of it. They just get up, they go to work, 9 to 5, coffee, come back home, pay their taxes, pay their bills, complain about the government. And, rinse, lather, repeat. It's the same thing every day. You see them on the highways and the parkways and the freeways. They're just dead souls. The inner child in them died a long time ago. They're just shuffling back and forth in their metal coffins, which is their car. It's sad, but that's the reason why you have so many people disconnected from life, from themselves, from their childhood, the inner child, the magical wonders of the universe. They just, they lost faith, they lost hope, they just don't care. But that's to the individuals I'm speaking with whom I refer to in this video. So you understand, it's not a blanketed explanation by any means, because there are many people out there that are very wide awake, very aware, and consciously ascending every day. So when the divine sends us transmissions, it does not go to the physical mind. It doesn't go to your head. It doesn't go to the pineal gland. That's all a bunch of nonsense. You got to get that out of your head. You got to literally get it out of your head. You have to, don't free your mind. Don't bring peace to your mind. Free yourself from the mind, from the physical mind, because that's what's been controlled in your entire life. Once you free yourself from the mind, then you're free. Then you're truly liberated. You're extricated. You're emancipated. It's a beautiful experience. You have to stop thinking the pineal gland, the third eye, all of that stuff. Your imagination is not contained inside your skull. Your intelligence, your awareness, your intuition, your wisdom, your knowledge, your ability to retain information, to comprehend it, to process it, to remember it, to disseminate it upon others, your wisdom, your knowledge, all of that stuff, intuition, awareness, perception, all of that. It's not in your head. It's not a physical thing. It's a metaphysical element. All of them are. And they're not on earth. Your soul is a cosmic mind. Your heart is an ethereal heart. These are conduits that tap into the divine collective imagination, the divine collective intelligence, and so on. And you are receiving what is not yours. It's not yours. Your talents and abilities, your gifts, your intelligence, your wisdom, your awareness, they don't belong to you. Your soul doesn't belong to you. Nothing belongs to you. It's all the property of God. And this earth too. This earth was not given to humanity. It's just not true. This earth is over 5 billion years. There is no age to the earth, because science doesn't know what it's talking about. They just give everything a number and a name and an explanation, because they have this pretentious attitude that they have to have a position of superiority in order to explain what they don't understand, because they don't want to look stupid in the eyes of the public. So therefore, they look at something, they name it a tree, they describe the process. Oh, it's a tree, so everybody has to accept that blanketed definition. It's not true. How could you describe something that you had nothing to do with the creation of? I mean, honestly. Anyway, that's another video. I just wanted to bring up that when Source sends you divine transmissions, they are supposed to be delivered and received. Received by the heart, through the heart, to be delivered to the soul. But what happens is, these people who are unaware, their egocentric perception grabs these divine transmissions. They're intercepted and redirected to the physical mind, because it's an unlimited power. Imagine these divine transmissions as a box that contain amazing information that can alter your life forever in amazing ways. But the ego doesn't want you to have that. It does not want you to receive or these items to be delivered to the heart and the soul. It says, no. We're none of this. We're not going to have that. We're going to take this and we're going to freaking confiscate it. It's exactly what it does. That's why people are hostages to the ego, and they don't even realize it. So when the ego takes its egocentric perception, the essence and purity and the nature of the divine transmissions, which are sacred messages, it's altered and rearranged and transformed and mutated and morphed into something that has nothing to do with the initial intention of the message itself. Imagine somebody standing outside your house and you expecting a beautiful delivery to come of amazing things. Well, that individual standing outside your door, he gets the package. He opens the box. He takes out all the stuff that would prosper and benefit you in every way, right? And leaving nothing in the box, if anything benefits you. And if there's something in that box that's of a viable use for their benefit, they'll take it too. So therefore, they'll take everything out of the box that was intended for you, for the betterment of your soul, the progress of your journey, and the developmental perpetual motion of, the journey of your soul, your collective being, your infinite being. Everything's taken, and it's changed and rearranged and transformed, and you wind up getting not either an empty box or something that was never intended to be delivered in the first place, because everything that was intentionally and initially delivered has now been removed from the box, and what you wind up getting is nothing. So you keep going throughout your day unaware that this is happening, because you're not spiritual, truly spiritual. By that I mean, you think spirituality is crystals and sage and Buddha and Tibetan singing bowls and crystal bowls and tarot cards and all that. That's not spirituality. That's commercialism, because now the supposed quote unquote spiritual world is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. So there goes that. Your spirituality has nothing to do with money or finances or commercialism, consumerism, superficiality, narcissism. It has nothing to do with materialism, because you're immaterial. You are metaphysical. Your consciousness. You simply defy the laws of the physicality of this earthly plane. So your connection to Source has already been established, and you don't need to buy something on Amazon or Etsy to draw yourself closer to the universe. Like, for example, I can hand you a kitchen knife. If you have never seen one before and you don't know what it is, and I tell you that this is an amazing talisman or an amulet that will bring you closer to God than anything else on the earth, because of the placebo effect, your physical mind will convince you into believing what you're hearing is the truth. So it will go to work to process those energies, and now it's going to connect with those energies in the cosmos that will reinforce and fortify those beliefs. So you're going to think that this thing I gave you is a talisman that's going to bring you closer to anything else on the earth, to God. And that's how they deceive you every day. You don't need any of this stuff. You don't need necklaces and bracelets and earrings and rings and trinkets and all this wire wrapped stuff. And none of that means anything, because we all come from the same lump of clay, which is it's a flaccid, malleable, pliable energy that can be shaped to assume any form. And we now are in human form. Trees are in the form of a tree, the grass, the wind, everything. It's all energy coming from Source, God, Almighty, Consciousness, Divine, Universe, whatever name you want to use. We're all coming from the same lump of clay. So you don't need all these accessories. You've been convinced that you do because these people make big bank off of it. God doesn't want your money. God just wants your love. That's why religion is a liar. They tell you, oh, God wants you to donate 10% of your yearly income to a tax-exempt corporation. That's not true. That couldn't be farther from the truth. It could not be farther from the truth. But anyway, getting back to my initial subject matter on this video, whenever the divine sends divine transmissions, it's intended to be received by the heart, delivered to the soul. But what happens is that is intercepted by the egocentric perception, because the darkness operates through your ego. Your ego is a conduit through which the darkness propagates its nefarious agendas upon the hapless populations of this planet Earth. We are just another animal that occupies the face of this earth. We're nothing special. We're not only made in the likeness of God. Everything is. So you guys got to get off that high horse that humanity is the most evolved. We are the closest to God. It's all nonsense. If we are the closest to God, then why are spiders billions and billions and billions and billions of years older than us then? Come on, folks. You got to check yourselves. This planet has been around long before humanity was placed on it. Whales, great white sharks, species of flowers, insects, they've all been here long before us. So you got to stop with the, God is a man, Jesus is white, everybody's Caucasian, living in happy white heaven, sitting on a divine throne. It's all garbage. God is a man that lives up in the sky, and he's a jealous God, and he's an insecure God, and the fear of God. And, look how the Bible's written. It's written to keep you trapped in fear. It's nothing new. Instead of the Bible now, what they use is news. and social media to keep you controlled by fear and paranoia. Back then, they didn't have technology. So how did they do it? How did they control the masses with fear and paranoia and trepidation, uncertainty, and indecisiveness? They used the Bible and the Torah and the Quran. It's all written by the same people. It's all written by the same cult. The nucleus of all illusions is religion. Religion is the nucleus of the matrix. Don't ever think otherwise, because it's the truth. So when they condition your physical mind, because they do, and they do control it, the egocentric perception, and when I say egocentric perception, I mean that your perception has been conditioned and controlled by the ego. So therefore, your perception are the eyes of your reality. So how you perceive your life is how you believe your life to be, or all of what you think reality that surrounds you is. And it cannot be otherwise. You cannot exceed the limitations of your perception, which is your awareness, which where your enlightenment comes from, or your lack thereof. So therefore, when the ego controls your perception, it controls everything. It controls your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, your intentions, your feelings, emotions, impulses, instincts, your awareness, your cognition, all of it, your sentience, everything. That's why all of these people walking around blind. If you mention spirituality or like spirits or ghosts, or they look at you like you're a nut job, because all they have been convinced that exists is what their eyes and their five senses can perceive and detect and sense. So they're just locked out. So for the individuals that God sends divine transmissions to everybody, to the people like myself that are consciously awakened, I receive them because I can see all the, not because I can see the divine synchronicities appear before my physical eyes, but because it's an inner knowing. I sense it. I don't need to see it to see it. I don't need to see God to see God. And I don't see with my eyes. That's where I have my 20/20 eyesight. My true persistence of vision comes from my cosmic eyes. That's my soul and my heart. So once you possess cosmic vision, then you can receive these divine transmissions and bypass the ego altogether. But until that time, the egocentric perception is going to translate and rearrange these messages to make it palatable and usable as a viable source of information for the darkness, not for the light. And that's what's going on. Hence, the inherent dilemma of humanity, that these divine transmissions are constantly being sent. Every second of your life, every second of your life, they're being sent. And what happens is the darkness doesn't want you to prosper and benefit and progress and move and transform and expand and change and grow and flourish and blossom and rise. It wants to keep you down and buried and dead. And that's what it wants to do. So it's going to go to every level, every length, every extent to block you from receiving what is rightfully yours. And that is divine transmissions, which contain amazing things: light language activation, healing codes, instructions, blueprints, directions, awareness, guidance, support, information, wisdom, on and on and on, to be extrapolated, interpreted, deciphered, translated, to be received in the purest form as it was delivered, not as the ego deems fit to change it around. It's like what Hitler did to the Jews in World War II. He was burning books. He was telling you what to think. And that's what this government, and they're trying to do now. They're trying to tell you, you can't say this, you can't say that. You're not allowed to think for yourself. If you notice, nobody reads books anymore. You're being told what to think and what to feel and what to say and what to read and what not to read. That's why if there's any truth posted on social media, it's immediately taken down, because they're conditioning you to believe that their truth is the truth. But the problem is that their truth are lies, and their reality that they pose in front of you, that's an illusion. Only when you exit their illusions will you ever enter your own reality. Until the day comes that you disconnect from their lies, you shall never know the real truth, because the truth negates belief. The truth is always perceived as a crime in the eyes of humanity, because to speak the truth means you go against the social narrative. And they can't have that. They go to every extent and every length to keep you blinded to what God has intended for you, for the betterment of yourself and the progress of your journey. Just know that the divine transmissions that are being sent to you are being intercepted. Imagine somebody sending you all these, like Somebody's sending you letters every day in the mail, physical letters. I mean, even look at the movie The Notebook, prime example. She was oblivious to the fact that I believe it was her mother that was stealing her letters being sent from her lover. And she thought the guy didn't care about her. That's exactly what's happening. So all the while, the divine is sending you all these beautiful messages and beautiful packages and everything in the form of divine transmissions, and they're being intercepted and stolen and hijacked by the ego, the darkness. So that leaves you blinded. And with an overwhelming sensation of being isolated and left alone and abandoned and sequestered and banished to depression and darkness, which is exactly what it wants you to do, because it wants you to stay in that low vibratory state forever. They don't want you to meditate, folks. They don't want you to wake up. They don't want you to realize your unlimited transformative potential. That change is the metamorphosis that allows us to become transformational butterflies. They don't want you to realize that. They don't want you to know it. Just keep playing your violent video games. Keep cursing. Keep being angry. Keep being violent. Keep being apathetic. Keep being stoic. Watch your MMA. Discourage all forms of affection. Encourage all forms of cruelty and violence. And just keep that going. Because God forbid two people, whether they're two men, two women, or a man and a woman, should ever show affection in public towards each other. God forbid. But let's all get tickets to MMA and watch two guys bludgeon each other to death in an octagon. That's okay. Let's watch our horror movies where people are being decapitated and raped and murdered. That's okay. Satanic rituals, pedophilia. That's okay. But God forbid we should ever do something of peace or unity or kindness in the world. That's not okay. Look at how people are. Nobody holds hands anymore. Nobody hugs anymore. Nobody kisses anymore. They all stay away from each other like they're in these isolation chambers. That's all done by design. Nobody has any conversations of substance anymore. They can't hold a conversation or maintain eye contact anymore. They have no attention span, no focus anymore. So therefore, nothing of substance is being created, and nothing is getting done that is worth anything. And that is by design. So once you consciously awaken to the fact that you're being robbed and lied to and blinded, then you're in a good place. And then just keep going. Just keep going. But I just wanted to send this message out to whomever it was intended to be received by. God bless.